Good morning, everyone. Welcome to American Scousers Morning Coffee or Tea with AmericanScouser.com. You can tell the regulars because we were bobbing heads as Rami is like, what's going on? This music is not doing it for me. I am your host, as always, Timushin, in a cold ass Chicago morning here. Trevor's with us, as always. What's up, Trevor?
Not too much, not too much.
Alan is with us even before Rami, and Rami is with us as well this morning. What's up, man?
Yep, happy to be here as usual.
Yeah. So got a lot to get to. We're gonna talk about. Let's start with Liverpool headlines and stuff, and we'll kind of like go back to our preview of like the World Cup. And there's even more headlines from the World Cup. And Trevor's daily Ronaldo updates is here. So we gotta make sure we do that. So let's start with the boys first. News is out, but that's not the news. Here's the news. Liverpool are gonna play Olympic Lyon and AC Milan in the coveted Dubai Super Cup. Are we going all in on this, Trevor? What do you expect out of this? Like when we go out to these games, is it going to be like a preseason, or do you expect like a solid 11 working on things?
I I genuinely have zero interest in this whatsoever. I looked at a bit of like the format of it because it's
Yeah,
something
the
where
point system.
it's so stupid. You get you get 3 points for a win, 2 points for a draw, and there's a penalty shootout at the end regardless. And if you win that, you get a point.
Wait,
Cool.
regardless?
Regardless, like you could get beat 5-0 and they go do a penalty shootout anyways, just for funsies, for a bonus point.
Are you serious? I did not see that. See, I took that as almost like hockey, like you get your points, but then you get an extra points,
Yeah,
if you win the penalty shootout after a draw. I didn't realize that was it. But in terms, so you don't care who's out there doing what?
just nobody get injured, please. I that's all I ask for.
How about you, Rami? Are you like, do you have these dates circled on your calendar? You know we're gonna watch it anyway, but I'm just saying, like, how excited are you that we're playing these games during the World Cup where there's no Liverpool?
I mean, yeah, I think it'd be a good change of pace. Just to see players like Mo and just the other guys who didn't qualify for the World Cup. Maybe hopefully Diaz is back from injury, so just a bit of change of pace from the regular World Cup programming. I think the odd rules kind of make it a bit of a must watch, I guess, to see the penalty shootout when you just lost 3-0 or whatever. But I think it'll be kind of a fun watch. I hope it's not much more intense than kind of like scrimmage or practice or something. But I think it'll be just kind of get some miles into those legs for the guys that aren't playing.
What do you guys think of these guys like doing the camp and stuff like that? You think that's going to help? I mean, obviously Diaz coming back and getting him in the flow of things is key. But I mean, part of me is like, that's probably great to get people like Ox and Thiago and stuff stronger, but it almost also gives me that possibility that these guys could get freaking injured.
Yeah, there's that's my only concern about this, and I agree with Rami. Like, kind of keeping these guys in routine and fresh is important, but if if a guy if we have so many guys that are just routinely hurt to go over there and play on fields that not everybody seems to be too happy with already. And then if something goes down where somebody gets hurt and you're just sitting there like this was supposed to be a reset for our season and now it's a torpedo for it. Yeah, that would be kind of a bummer.
I get that. I mean, Sparky says club always complaining about no rest time, and then they fly to play more games. I think that's like the biggest thing. And then he says a waste of time. I always kind of, yeah, kind of torn on that because I get his points. You're sending all these guys, complain about travel, but at the same time, it's a lot about, I think, ends up being team building and stuff. And I realize playing against another team is totally different than doing scrimmage. That's why scrimmage and actual games are very different. But I'm always afraid. I don't know. You're gonna play like AC Milan, and there's gonna be this dude that's trying to get into the team because obviously their international players are gone too. Mind you, Italy's not in it, so I don't know how many AC Milan. But either way, there are like a lot of guys, their guys gone too. So they have some like bench guys. So I just don't want them to like come out and like try to prove themselves and put a tackle on or something like that. But that would be my biggest season. Well, says we weren't good enough so far this season to take a break. I mean, honestly, it would be good for them to, like I say, get some action and more playing time and probably build strength for these guys. Arthur should be back, right? We should be able to see Arthur pretty soon over here. There's a lot to be excited about, people. Ox is going to be out there. Come on now. Beers and Ellen is stuck at the beer cost as Qatar. I don't know why, but 12 pounds a can. That sounds about right. And it's only Budweiser because they're sponsors. I was actually my wife was telling me about this, that, Budweiser is not too thrilled about this. They're like, hey, we paid $1 gazillion for, the rights to the World Cup. And then they're like, wait, what? We can't sell beer everywhere? What's going on? What is this? What is this beer ban that you guys speak of, kind of a deal? But I mean, isn't it ultimately seeing a bunch of stupid Budweiser commercials where they say official beer of the World Cup, Rami? I mean, I'm assuming they weren't really counting on these 24 pounds prices.
Yeah, it's usually, I feel like those type of things are usually in like commercial and like billboards and stuff like that, where you see much of your return on investment. I'm not sure what they really expect with hosting a World Cup in the Middle East, where drinking is kind of frowned upon. So you kind of you made your bed, now lie in it, I guess. I say that to all the people who are these corporations who are complaining about hosting the World Cup. It's like, you made your bed when you made sponsorship deals with FIFA. I guess now it's time to lie in it. So that's kind of what I don't want to hear any complaints from companies like Budweiser or anything like that. So
exactly,
exactly.
Yeah. So there's the numbers: 64 million. Is that pounds, euros? Only beer on sale to be at the World Cup, and then will be available in booze-friendly fan zones and stadiums. Is that going to be like the little tents for like smokers? Some bars put outside. They're like, why don't you guys go over there and do your thing and then come back, kind of a deal. But I mean, I don't know. I talked about this on the Monday podcast. I don't want to hear any whining about not being able to drink and stuff. I mean, if that's your biggest concern about having the World Cup in Qatar, you got another thing coming, because there's a lot of bigger issues over there. Speaking of, they were apologizing. Let's bring that headline first. But there's already a lot of stuff going on, because there's going to be a lot of media actually doing actual reporting instead of like some of these like fluff news. And already, I mean, these guys are not really used to free media, what have you. So when these guys are going on with cameras and stuff, they're like, wait, what are you doing? So there's going to be a lot of this, I think. But this is the fun story right here. The fake World Cup fans.
Oh, we're bringing it back.
Trevor, can we pay you to go to the World Cup? And I don't know, let's pick a team for you over here. I mean, I don't know. Here's another thing. Like when they pay people, like, do you get $10 a day if it's Australia, but only $5 a day for France? Because at least you might get the chance to win something. But how much would it take you to be an Australia fan for a couple of months?
Oh, I can say shrimp on the Barbie. I can pull the accent out if I want to. It's one of those things where, if I was assured my safety, why not? I could use a couple bucks. You can't have a moral compass when you're poor, and that's one of those things where, if they threw a Serbia shirt on me and just go, hey, go sit in the sands and cheer. All right, cool. Is that it? Do I have to like?
What are we today? French? Okay, sounds good. Like, Rami, name your price, my man. How much would it take you to be?
I mean,
from Denmark.
Getting to watch a World Cup game, and getting paid to do it. I don't know. It's kind of a good deal. I mean, you have a bunch of guys who look like me cheering for South Korea. It's kind of funny, So, yeah. But I think it points to a bigger picture. What's that?
They've done this before. I mean, I think the comedy.
It's funny they bring up South Korea. Yeah,
step up from a USA fan, which that's a low blow, but it's funny. I'll give them that. I mean, I was talking about this earlier. Actually, I think it was like with my brother. We were talking about it on our pod, and South Korea did this when they had the World Cup. where I mean, Turkey was there in that World Cup, and I'm like, man, South Koreans really like Turkey. Then I was like, oh wow, they really like Senegal too. So they would basically do the same thing, like to fill the stadium and fill the section. They would almost like get some people who are like more excited than actual Turkish people to be at a game rooting for Turkey. And they were just there to kind of like get the party started, kind of a deal.
Yeah.
But I think the thing with South Korea was, I mean, what is South Korea? Like 40, 50 million people probably. So they could recruit within. They didn't have to like import fans. I mean, Qatar is like a city. So it's like less than like I think it's like 3 million or something like that is the whole population. So they don't even have enough people.
Yeah.
And first of all, most of them are too rich to pretend to be Denmark. They do have that moral compass because they're not poor. And then, so they have to, I think that's the drama, Trevor, is they have to import foreigners to come in. And I think more than that fact that they're denying, I mean, suddenly there's going to be like thousands of people from Pakistan rooting for Australia. But I think the fact that, like you look at how these people are going to live while they're there, like the housing conditions and stuff like that. And that's the part that is like, oh my God, you guys are continuing how you guys built the stadium during games now.
Oh yeah, that it's, and you've seen it from everywhere. The fire festival vibes that some of those cities, and I use cities very loosely, that they've set up for the fans coming in. But hey, if I get those 2 Budweisers, I should be able to go to sleep pretty easily in that thing that could get blown over by a stiff breeze.
Dude, I don't know. Like I say, I've been in that neck of the woods for like about like a year and a half, and my dad used to work there, and it was Saudi Arabia, and it was by the Red Sea. It was in Jeddah, by the way, so a bit more mild, and it gets mighty humid over there. So it's not really like great outside sleeping weather. Rami, what do you make of it in terms of like how this whole ordeal? I mean, we're gonna talk and probably bash this World Cup as we're watching the games, but what do you say about the fake fans coming in?
Yeah, it's a whole fiasco, and I feel like it kind of points to how sensitive the Qataris are, or I guess the Qatari government, you could say, is about this World Cup. That they feel like everything has to be perfect. I'm not sure if you guys have seen this video floating around, but the Qatari Supreme Court had to apologize to Danish national news because they were recording the street, and a bunch of guys in a golf cart pulled up on them and were like, "We're gonna break your camera. You can't be recording here," stuff like that. So. I mean, it's just crazy that it's like you invite all these people to your country and then are kind of upset when they're filming it and showing it off. And it just goes to show that this World Cup is a sham. And I think we're all trying to like hoping that the football and the soccer hides it for these next month. But, it's kind of hard to ignore these other things that are going on.
I think so. I mean, like I say, the people who live there, especially the officials, I mean, more than just the guy on the street or whatever, but more the officials are not used to or more of an open environment, let's say, right? It's very rigid and nobody even dares go out of the boundaries. And now it's more like, a little, let's for a month do Qatar light is what they're doing, I think, and not everybody's going to be able to adjust that. I always tell the story where we had, when I worked in the city in Chicago, this is like totally off related, but in terms of people, when you take them out of their environments, it's like a really whole ordeal and they can adjust. When I was working in Chicago, and retail, we had, I mean, obviously Chicago, so there's like huge security everywhere. We had like undercover door guards, freaking mobile guard and stuff. And we had door guards, armed door guards that were actually off-duty cops. And it's kind of like a similar scenario where these guys are, as cops, are used to being talked in a certain way or nonstop respected because people don't want to get tickets or whatever, But when they're at retail and they're off duty, so they're not wearing a uniform where, they're like supposed to just look at receipts on the way out and tell people have a nice day or whatever. They're more for like protection than anything else. But like, like he's like asking for a receipt and the guy says like, "Fuck you, man." And he just like took the guy and slammed him on the floor. I was like, customer service. We don't do that. We don't slam customers. And I feel like it's like the same exact scenario. These guys are not used to like dealing with situations where their rules are not followed to a T. So there is going to be a lot more of, I think, that's like people pulling up, beating a couple of journalists, throwing the camera on their head and stuff like that. But let's see how much of it comes out, I guess, more than anything else. Unless, Trevor, is it also fair to say that because there's so much talk about this World Cup, every story is gonna get really blown up, where maybe some of these things did happen in past World Cups and we never heard of it, but now everybody will, and probably should, make a point of bringing it out.
Yeah, and there's a bit of what about, isn't there? Like, well, look at what Brazil did, and look at what Germany did, and look at what South Korea did, and it's just going, well, no, we're talking about what you did. Don't pull this like a 5-year-old, but like, my brother broke the lamp. I only broke the table. You're like, no, 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 no. There's gonna be a lot of that deflection. And yeah, there are probably things that are going to get blown out of proportion, but there are things that are probably also going to be underreported. And luckily that we've got off to a flying start with the American journalists and the Danish journalists just going there going, hey, we're just trying to show some stuff in the city, and guys coming in golf carts like their campus security coming in and just trying to like break their shit and not understanding that no, we kind of don't want you to do that. it's it's just going to be a beautiful time outside of the games. I think it's going to just there's going to be no problems. Yeah, it's just going to be hunky dory. None of
I
those.
can't wait. This is going to be like, it's almost like two World Cups at once. One with
Yeah.
all these events and one with just soccer on the field. Sparky says after COVID, at least players are used to playing in empty stadiums. I think, it's more goes back to what Rami is saying. Like Qatar, this is like a huge ego thing about, we hosted the shit out of the World Cup kind of a thing. I mean, they built these ridiculous stadiums. So you don't want to build a ridiculous stadium and make it look like the Etihad afterwards, like where there's like a bunch of open seats.
Ting.
Yeah, and the sad part is, all these people, they pretty much killed as they were building this thing. And honestly, after this, who's going to be playing there? I don't even think they have like an actual league. We were talking about
That's
this
going to be like
the other
those
day.
ones in Brazil that got like taken over by the jungle that are out in the middle of nowhere that they had to build. And
yeah, exactly.
Afterwards, it's like, yeah, cool. That's a nice nature preserve.
It's going to be
out
on
in
the sand somewhere. It's
Section
gonna be like
310.
Aladdin, where they're gonna have to go inside and get something from the locker rooms. Okay, back to our predictions over here. So we did Group A and Group B yesterday. Let's go move on to Group C. Argentina, Saudi Arabia, Mexico, and Poland. Rami, we'll start with you. What do you expect to see?
This group's a tough one because I feel like first and fourth are kind of clear. Like, I feel like most people have Argentina and Saudi Arabia in those positions respectively, but I feel like Mexico and Poland's kind of a toss-up because I feel like if you talk to many Mexicans, they don't really have much belief in this team as much as I feel like the outside world does. And Poland have Lewandowski, but something about just, I don't know if it's the vibes or the fans or the energy around Mexico. I'm backing them to get that second spot.
So you said like a lot of the Mexican fans have belief in him or don't have belief in him?
Don't have belief in them.
Why is that?
To at least. They just feel like they think it's managerial, some of it like coaching.
That sounds familiar, right, Trevor?
Some stars have had riffs with him.
Okay.
Like stars have some, like he's left a few players at home and stuff. So it's there's just not as much unity surrounding that squad as there usually is. So I don't know, I'm still backing them.
Yeah, that's interesting. Where are you at with that? I mean, I think he's right. I mean, I'm assuming Argentina and Saudi Arabia were placing in their, predicted locations, but Poland and Mexico are both teams, especially Poland. Our Polish Prince Mateusz on the website obviously is going to be rooting for him. It's just like a weird team. He always mentions it too, that there are a lot of world stars there, top players, and somehow, like, as Poland, they never have really put it together. You never had like a really huge run where you were like, look at Poland, man. Whereas you've had that run out of like countries like Denmark and stuff like that. Is it because they are stars and it's hard to get them together to play as a team, Trevor, or what is the deal?
Oh, yeah, there's certain countries that just have a huge collection of talent and just can never put it together as a unit. And it's the same in any sport. There's teams that will go to international tournaments in basketball and they have like three guys who are like all NBA, and then they'll just get smoked by like a team with nobodies, and it makes no sense. And Poland's one of those teams where you see they have it at all the levels. They have a Premier League goalkeeper. They have one of the best strikers in the past 15 years, and they have a midfield that just does not stop running. That should be a recipe for at least getting through the group. But yeah, I don't have the utmost confidence in them. Even though Mexico is like an older team, they're also a team that can go and just really get goals when they need to. And as I was talking about yesterday, I don't think Poland in a pinch would go get 4 goals in the last game if they needed to for that differential, whereas Mexico could definitely do that.
And that's the thing. I almost feel like Sparky says Argentina and Poland. And I think on paper, yeah, Poland is a better team. 2 things that could change in my mind that group is, one, how they do against Argentina. And I almost feel like Mexico has a better shot at getting something out of, for example, Argentina game, just because of the familiarity of the style and how they play and things like that. And 2, when Poland play Mexico, I can see Mexico, I don't know, like, I mean, Turkey is the same way, so it's not like putting shade on them, but they can make the game dirty and more of a fight than actual game. So they can make, like start mini fights, kill time, just like shithousery and stuff like that. I feel like Mexico is a lot better at that. Poland is kind of trying to play gentlemanly while like Mexico is pulling their shorts down and running away. And that's the kind of like thing that I feel like, Mexico can get, maybe if they get a draw out of that and do better against Argentina, they can squeak in. So you have Mexico going through, Rami, in this group?
Yep. Yes, I do. Argentina first, Mexico second.
And Trevor, you do?
Yeah, same.
Mexico, really?
Yeah, it's one of those things where I want like yesterday, I wanted my head to say that USA would get through, but I won't. Just like I don't want Mexico to go through, but I think they will.
Yeah, I guess you guys have that rivalry thing going here. Argentina and Mexico, says Alan, the climate will play its hand. Yeah, that's a good point too. I didn't think of that. You would think Mexico is a bit more used to playing in like an atmosphere like that, in terms of like the weather, the humidity and stuff like that. Man, I am really torn on this, but I think even though I just made a great case for Mexico, I think I'm still going to go with Poland. I think I feel like Poland has enough quality to pull something off, and hopefully they'll be smart enough not to kind of like play into the tricks. VAR will stop Mexican anti. That's another thing that let's see what VAR does in like Group A. We were talking about this yesterday. I think Boaz was the one. Somebody was saying, or maybe Alan, that VAR will get Qatar a few points here and there. They're like, who knows, something could happen there. But yeah, I'm going with Argentina and Poland, just to be different, even though I just made a case for the other guys. Okay, here we go. Group T. Let me just contradict myself. France, Australia, Denmark, Tunisia. Trevor, let's start with you on this one. What do you have?
In all of the groups, I think this is the one where there's clearly 2 teams and not much else. In the other 3 that we've profiled so far, you can kind of make arguments that there's 3 teams, and then there's kind of just that dud. I think this is France and Denmark, and is as much as we want the Aussies to kind of make a mark for one of these tournaments, they make it every time, and they never really do anything. And Tunisia is a team that is kind of new to the scene, and they have a lot of really talented players, but I don't see them getting anything from either of those 2 teams. To be fair,
who does Australia play to qualify?
They have to go into the Asian bracket now. It was years where they would just go beat Tahiti 17-0 and then have to just beat New Zealand. Yeah. The oceanic route is off the table for them now. That's
Is it off so
they
they
actually
have
have to
to
go
play
play.
like with Japan and South Korea and
Yeah,
stuff?
yeah.
Really? Okay. I have to look at Australia's path. We'll designate one of our mornings to Australia's path to the World Cup and see how that goes. Rami, what do you have? Do you agree with the assessments?
Yeah, I agree with that. I think the only way we see some surprise in this group is if France gets hit with the Champions Curse a bit early, you know. That's the only way I could see this group being shaken up. But yeah, I think I would go with France first, Denmark second. I want my North African brothers in Tunisia to do something, so them third, and Australia fourth. So, so that's kind of what I'm thinking and what I'm hoping for.
See, yeah, I figured like you would be going for like Tunisia to do something. Sparky says, "See, Trevor rooting for Australia already. What is the Australia connection? Because you said
it's
you
my demo
expect him,
tape.
you want
That's the
him
team
to
I'm
do
gonna
well."
go. That's the team I'm gonna go over and get paid to root for.
Oh, that's right. That's right. That's right. Good. $5 a
Because
day.
I can't do England. That wouldn't work. I have to go in
This
through a different channel.
if
I can't
Qatar is
speak. I
watching
can't speak
this.
other languages. I'm very dense on that front. So, just a really over the top Australian accent. I can pull that off.
Well, I don't think that's part of the
Sneak a couple
requirement. Like
Fosters in.
these Pakistanis
Budweiser
are
be
not
damned.
going around saying like we like France and stuff like that. I think you just got to show up and paint like a flag on your cheek and look excited. These are the bare minimums.
If I'm gonna get paid to go to Qatar, I'm gonna make it worth my while. I'm not gonna lurk in the shadows.
Man, if somebody from
Have some
Qatar
fun
is
with
watching
it.
this, yeah, you'll be recruited. You expect a phone call. You'll be there on the next plane over there. France and Australia, says Alan. Man, everybody's trying to get this gig to go support Australia. I'm not buying this. That you guys are really predicting Australia. I honestly think like Denmark is one of those teams that will do well throughout the tournament. So yeah, I have France and Denmark going through. And France, I expect to go a long way. I did hear today though that Nkunku is not there.
Yeah, he got hurt
so
in
he
training.
was replaced. So they're missing Conte, Pogba. So they are missing a bunch of players, but goddamn, there's so much depth on that team. Doesn't really matter. They have like 15 center backs they could pick out of and stuff like that. So, but I do have France and Denmark there. I guess I'm not getting the Australia gig, but it is what it is. Stick with my daytime job. Let's do Group E as well, and then this way we can save Friday for our full-blown predictions. Group E. What do we have? We have Spain, Costa Rica, Germany, Japan. This is probably more of a no-brainer, but you never know. Maybe we'll be up for a surprise. Rami, let's start with this one. You think Japan wins this outright or what? Taki's there, isn't he? Oh, your microphone is off.
Oh,
yep.
Yeah, to answer your question, I think if you tell Minamino that's the League Cup, Japan might win the whole thing. So the way he's done with us the last few years. But yeah, I think this group's pretty straightforward. It's just a matter of who finishes first or second. Personally, I would go Germany first. I think they have a little bit more quality than Spain. I'm not entirely convinced with their defense. But then Spain second, Japan third, and Costa Rica fourth. Who knows? Costa Rica might surprise us like they did in, I think it was 2014, where they topped the supposed group of death. So, but yeah, I think this one's pretty much straightforward.
Yeah, you got to figure, we're kind of like playing it safe for the most part, going off of, what's expected. But you're right. And then we'll talk about that like on Fridays too. Like, there has to be one or two surprises, right? So Sparky has Spain and Germany. Alan has Germany and Spain. I'm amazed Alan did not pick Japan, but I guess he's not auditioning for that one. Trevor, if you were Japanese, so what do you have for this group? Spain, Germany, or Germany, Spain? I guess that's probably the question, right?
Yeah, I went Spain, Germany. I think Spain will be able to kind of keep clean sheets whereas Germany, I think, will play better, but not have that differential.
That's interesting because we were like kind of like mostly looking at how they will fare against the other teams as well, right? Or I guess you could just determine like how they do against
Japan will
each
be a
other
fun team
too.
to watch, though.
Which one?
Japan will be a fun team to watch. Costa Rica, I don't think we're going to get a repeat of what Rami was referring to.
That's why I was hoping like Japan.
quarterfinals.
Japan would be in a group like Group F, where they could actually, like compete, and like be interested. Because I think it is like an interesting team to watch, but they're in a really, really tough group, and it's like an uphill battle over there. Me and Sushi don't get along, says Alan. You know what, Alan? If they're paying you to go to Qatar as Japan, you will eat sushi and you will like it in the stands. That's part of the ordeal there. Paint your face, the Japanese flag, and bring sushi to the stadium. I wonder if they're gonna go. Yeah, man, I can't wait. Are they gonna go like really stereotype things? Like if you're sporting French, you have like a baguette in your hand. If you're if you're
Wouldn't be
sporting
surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if that's just all they know is like cartoonish caricatures. You just, if you're supporting France, they hand you like a beret as you're walking in. If you're going in for Spain, they just give you like a red sheet and you have to like pretend you're a matador. Just these awful
the guy that there's like
stereotypical
the
things that
Qatar
they saw from
tourism
like
director. That's what they do, right? Like
that they saw from like a Tom and Jerry cartoon.
it's
50
like I say
years ago.
when they did it in South Korea, it was just about I mean, it was people. It's not like they had Turkish flags painted on their cheeks, and maybe like a bandana and stuff like that. A few Turkish accessories, if you will, that are like supplied by the stadium, and then that was really it. And then they would just yell and scream like they were from Istanbul. I'm like, you guys from the hood too? But so it was kind of like interesting to watch. But that's why I want to see like what these guys are going to do. Just the fact that they're imported, I think, just makes it hilarious. Sparky says he'll root for England's beer in hands. Where is England? Oh, we did get to England actually. England will go. Sparky is right though. Germany is usually slow starter in tournaments, and then once shit hits the fan, they're like, okay, I guess we're playing, and then they'll just keep fucking like beat everybody. But yeah, that should be interesting to go. So we have 3 groups left. We'll finish those up probably tomorrow, and then on Friday we have our friend from Jamaica joining us again. Kendrick will be with us, and then we'll do our full-blown predictions. But Rami, you will not be with us, so give us a sneak peek of who is playing the final in Rami's world and who wins it.
I have Brazil and on the other side of the bracket, maybe France. I think France, like I said, unless the Champions curse hits them, which I don't think it will. I think there's too much depth in that side. I think France can make a run. So Brazil, France in the final, and Brazil winning it. That's my sneak peek
as long as
prediction.
Neymar is out like in the first game or something with a broken leg, I'm all for that scenario. But I do not want Neymar lifting this trophy. He's gonna fall over while he's lifting it, roll around and shit. It's just disgusting scenes overall. But we'll be back tomorrow morning with Trevor. We'll kind of like go through Group F, G, and H. Oh yeah, before we forget over here, I don't want to like leave you hanging there. But Trevor, Ronaldo's United teammates expect his exit. Would you care to comment on this? Because tomorrow there'll be a different headline. So I don't want to waste this one. So that tomorrow we can do the other one. Do you, by the way, okay, like real quick, what do you guys make out of these videos that pop up with his interactions with teammates? I almost feel like if I really went through the entire video footage, you can probably pull the same shit on Cancelo being dissed by somebody else after he made a hard tackle on him. But they're like picking up a specific scenario where it almost looks like Cancelo was already mad at something and Ronaldo is trying to kind of say, come on, man, let's get back with it. And he's not having any part of it, but they made it look like Cancelo is so mad that he's like doing this interview.
It's framing, and they're putting it together the way they want you to see it, and it's stupid. There's plenty of other things that you can dislike about the guy, but saying that he doesn't care on the field is probably far down the list.
We'll talk about those headlines tomorrow. I'm sure there'll be more clips about Ronaldo. Good laughs today with Trevor, the Australian. Yeah, I expect you to come to the shows during the World Cup with like an Australian hat, or at least painted on your cheek, or get.
I can try my damnedest. If I'm not going to be over there, I can at least try to play the part, especially if USA loses their first 2 games and then I just completely fall apart as a human being.
Be a virtual fan. Well, we'll be a virtual fan tomorrow here, first thing in the morning. You guys have a great Wednesday, hump day, and we'll be back tomorrow. Take care, everybody.